Sports Day is brought to you by Barton Community College. Explore your future and get started now. Visit gobarton.com.
Okay, Sports Day in 3, 2, 1.
You know, I thought the guys played pretty well defensively. I think I was most disappointed with our offense. It just wasn't really flowing like I wanted it to, and our execution wasn't very good. But
their defense, they're going to do one of two things. They're going to foul you or they're going to let you score. And you got to go to the basket, go strong in case they foul you. And if they don't foul you, then go score the thing. And we did that pretty much.
I'm feeling good. I mean, just thanking God every day for giving me the opportunity to get here and play again, just staying patient. Man, I mean, the feeling before the game, I was a little emotional. But
he and I are still having that conversation, so I don't want to speak to it yet until I get a chance to truly visit with him. I know Colin visited with both he and Adrian. We still have a plan. Will understands the plan. I look at it from Will's point of view, and I've not played a full season yet. And whether that is by default of Skylar getting hurt or by Adrian coming here and playing, and I know the competitive side of Will wants to play a full.
Well, first of all, those two defensive tackles, that might have been part of it. Those two guys are pretty strong jokers. We've been playing like the number one defenses here for the last few weeks, it seems like. And
I think this team is talented enough to survive without Josh Allen because they need to have him healthy for the playoffs. But there's no guarantee that they get home field advantage. There's no guarantee that they even make the playoffs in a tough division and a loaded AFC right now. It's a bit scary.
It's big, absolutely big. Before that final whistle, I was not able, have been able to do that because I was really knackered. It was really tough game for everybody.
Where Garland has to battle on the end boards with Hammond. It comes away with it centered in front for Horvat. He scores! Bo Horvat with his second of the night, and the Canucks strike early in the third period to take a 3-2 lead.
Absolutely they did. Welcome to Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM, the talk of the town. Welcome into the Wednesday Sports Day show. There will be no Thursday Sports Day show. And as far as Friday or Monday, it's not up to me. So
it's up in the air. It's up in the air on Friday and Monday.
You're executive producer
I
on
know.
Friday
That's
and Friday
why
and
I
Monday.
say it's up in the air.
Yeah.
Call in Friday.
You can do whatever you want. I don't. As long as you get her on the air, that's fine.
We'll get her on the air. Just don't listen. I want everybody else to listen. We don't need you to listen because we do things that would make the teacher mad.
So in the substitutes,
we run wild when you're not here.
Switch chairs.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, this is gonna be hard to handle. Okay. Yeah, we've got the radio auction showcase tomorrow.
That's what it is. I couldn't think of the word showcase.
Yeah. What are you tapping a baseball over there? Well, quit.
I do it every day.
Okay.
God. And they call me grouchy.
That's why I heard you got called grouchy today. Anyway, welcome to the program today. On the show, Erin Beck's going to be in, Great Bend Panther football coach. We will celebrate this season we just saw. It was special, even though they came up short last week against Salina Central. Mike Corson is going to be over in my chair. This is going to be fun. Yeah. You're okay here?
Yeah, I got to remember to hit the little triangle.
The triangle, that's all you got to do. Okay. Former Great Bend High School multi-sport athlete and now Newman University Hall of Famer, Rubi Spray. Back in her day as a multi-sport athlete known as Rubi Torres. So Ruby's going to join us in studio today. Looking forward to that. Voice of the Tigers, Gerard, Wellbrock, and Wednesday sports headlines and, of course, sounds of the past 24 hours or so. Let's get started. Jeremy Combs, former head coach at Neosho, going against his old team last night, and the Cougars roll up 100 points. 177, they beat the Panthers. Ring Malith leading the Cougars with 24 points, 10 of 11 shooting from the field. Alan Clark, his 18th-ranked Lady Cougars moved to 4-0. They overwhelmed Neosho 126-81. This is classic here. Okay, talking about this doesn't sound like a very effective defense to me.
Their defense, they're going to do one of two things. They're going to foul you or they're going to let you score.
Okay, that's how you give up 126 points in a game.
They didn't do it right. What did they do? Foul the free throw shooters? Hack the other kids?
Well, I don't know.
I was at
Morgan
that game.
Myers. I was going to ask you that because I knew you were at the game.
Okay,
so
sorry.
wait a second, I'm leading this up here.
Okay, sorry.
Morgan Myers, a career high 29 points in the game, 12 of 15 shooting. So she obviously got some shots off when they weren't fouling her. So Mike Hesher was at the game last night. Your thoughts?
It was crazy. I mean, they didn't need a 30-second shot clock. They needed a 15-second shot clock. Neither team played really any defense at all. It just was like, as Alan said, both teams were going to the bucket. And your girl from Clyde, was that right? Which one was from Clyde?
Brennan Kirchhoff?
I guess it was the other one.
From Cedar?
From Cedar. She had a heck of a game, 29 points?
No, that's Morgan Myers. She's from Cunningham.
Oh, okay. Dang it, I knew it. Okay.
She's a Wildcat, Mike.
Yeah, okay. There's too many.
Do you want me to start talking about Cunningham on the show today?
No. We heard enough of that the other day.
I'm sure you did.
But what I like most about that clip was the band playing in the back.
Well, it's halftime, so
Yeah.
that means
High school and college pep bands, that's what makes the basketball season go.
some of them.
Indeed.
Indeed.
You can have some bad ones, yes.
Some of them. Okay. Yeah, our band used to play, we'd come out and they had an electric organ up there, and they'd play Batman when we came out. Yeah.
Even when it's the height of Great Bend's state runs, still go to watch the band.
Oh, it's the
basketball.
atmosphere. Oh, yeah. If you've got a good high school pep band,
25 or 624.
you are going back.
25 or 624. Larned High School Gym.
That's a staple on them all.
Yeah, our band had that one too. That was the standard. So, do they still play that anymore? I haven't heard it.
I still hear it out there.
Oh, you do? Okay, good. It's a good one.
I think they play it. You may not be able to recognize it.
Okay. Barton hosting the Cougar Booster Club Best Western Classic this weekend. The Lady Cougars will play Redlands on Friday at 5:30, and then they'll take on 6th-ranked Labette. Labette ranked 6th in Division II. Barton men play Wilbur Wright College. Are they from Kitty Hawk?
I was thinking, is it Orville and Wilbur?
Yeah, I thought they were just playing one guy when you said that. They said college. Oh, poor Wilbur.
And Victoria College coming up on Saturday.
The women are exciting to watch. I mean, it's fast paced. It's not. I mean, I was talking to one of our colleagues, and he was like, last couple of years they maybe not were as exciting, but they are. It's up and down. It's fast paced.
Kansas State's Keontae Johnson scoring 13 points, talking about being back after the K-State game on Monday night. Hadn't seen the court in 2 years. Transferred to K-State. He received medical clearance to play at K-State. Something wasn't going to happen at Florida. Suspected heart condition that caused him to crash to the floor. Coming out of a timeout during a game in December of 2020. Came in there and scored 13 points on Monday night. Kansas State coach Chris Kleiman. What are you going to do, Mike?
He's on my hot seat for that.
Avery Johnson. Oh, that's next year.
So what was he saying?
Okay, but this is kind of, he said, okay, he hasn't had a full season. And he can understand Will Howard wanting a new. But yeah, if you're thinking about, Avery Johnson coming in, right? Okay, you got another quarterback, your boy Rubi. So is he wanting to save his full season at another school?
He's in a predicament, but he's going to have, 4 or 5 quarterbacks, and we don't know what Rubi can do, but if he's any good, he's going to have another quarterback in the wings, so now you're 3 stacked.
But he hasn't had a full season yet, so he goes out and plays, 2 more games than this season shot. I can see what K-State fans, we want to win now. You don't want to throw the season away. I understand, but you also got the kid to think about. I don't know. It's a dilemma.
I'm generally against the whole transfer thing. I used to like watching kids for 4 years, but if I'm Howard or maybe even if I'm Rubi,
you're already
cutting and running.
Right. I mean, that's one of the things we've seen parity in college football this year, more than I'd ever thought we'd see. I thought everybody was going to, paying the best players, but now guys just go somewhere else, and we're seeing it all across college football. I kind of like it.
And what I like is sometimes it bleeds down into the smaller schools where Rubi, I don't know how good he is. I don't get to see him, but if he's not a Big 12 kid, maybe he goes and plays for a mid-major and brings up a Tulane or a Tulsa.
Tabor would take him in a minute.
Northwest Missouri State. Right?
Between them and Tabor, I think he'd probably go to Hillsboro.
Okay.
It's in state.
Yeah.
It's in state. Andy Reid talking about their running game, 13 times for 14 yards. This is going against the best defense in the NFL, but still 14 yards on 13 carries.
They're getting over a yard a carry.
Yeah, Chiefs remain home Sunday. They'll take on Jacksonville in a noon game at Arrowhead. Okay, Dominique Foxworth, ESPN. He thinks the Bills will be fine with Case Keenum if Josh Allen can't play. I don't know about that. He's day-to-day with right elbow injury to the ulnar collateral ligament and related nerves. That's according to head coach Sean McDermott. He will not practice today. His status remains uncertain for Sunday's game against the Vikings. He had this in his rookie season, missed 4 games, hasn't missed a game since then.
Ask Denver about Case Keenum. He was a quarterback at Denver for a year or two.
One of how many?
Well, they've had one every year since Peyton retired.
Something to watch. Boy, that changes things in the AFC for sure. I threw this in for you, Hesh, because sometimes I don't think you think I appreciate you enough. Head coach Jurgen Klopp reacting to the absolutely big victory for Liverpool over Tottenham in the Premier League.
It's Tottenham.
Tottenham?
Yeah.
What are you going to do in 2 weeks when World Cup starts?
I was going to say, are you taking a couple of weeks off with the World Cup coming?
I will. I always get excited about it.
Okay.
I think they're going to roll through. I think they're going to beat England. Then they're going to take care of Wales. And then the game against Iran.
It's going to be all
and we're going to move on to the knockout round.
Okay. Wow, you at least know the terminology.
Of course I do.
Okay.
The call on SN 650. You cannot stop Bo Harvard. Scored on assisted by Connor Garland in the third period. The Canucks beat the Senators last night with a score of 6-4. Sounds of the past 24 hours.
Go back to Mr. Allen. Do you set him knowing that you're good enough that when he comes in, you might give up your home field, but it's worth it to have him for the important games?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Why?
That's will be Aaron Beck's first question when he comes on here in just a little bit. Georgia, the new number 1 in the college football playoff rankings, followed by Ohio State, Michigan, and TCU. And you start thinking, I thought, well, I wonder what the Big 12 bowls tie-ins are. Really haven't worried about it too much. K-State fans know it by heart. KU's going to a bowl, right?
The Hormel Chili Bowl.
I heard the Liberty Bowl this morning, maybe against Missouri.
That'd be all right.
That was speculation this morning.
Guaranteed Rate Bowl. Okay, now the highest available, they could end up in the Sugar Bowl. Highest ranked available Big 12 team if it's not the Big 12 champion. TCU goes to that. KU beats Texas Tech, beats K-State. KU's in the Sugar Bowl.
At this point, do we go for TCU just to have a Big 12 team still in the big games?
Absolutely.
It's tough.
Absolutely. The Valero Alamo Bowl. That's against the Pac-12 team. The Cheez-It Bowl against a team from the ACC. The Macari Texas Bowl. That'll be against a team from the SEC. The AutoZone Liberty Bowl against the SEC. And the Guaranteed Rate Bowl versus the Big Ten. There's other tie-ins, including the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl against the American Athletic Conference USA or the Pac-12, or maybe the ServPro First Responder Bowl versus the ACC, American Athletic, or the Pac-12. Now, I will tell you, the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl and the ServPro First Responder Bowl, we will not have that on our bowl coverage. Now, the other ones we have. In fact, bowl season starts. I can feel it right now. We're going to start on Friday, December 16th, with the Hometown Lenders Bahamas Bowl.
The less wins you have, the longer your bowl name gets.
Yes, okay.
Is the Armed Forces, is that Yankee Stadium?
No, that's a Pinstripe Bowl. You have the Cricket Celebration Bowl we'll bring you on Saturday, December 17th, the Jimmy Kimmel L.A. Bowl that same day, and the New Mexico Bowl. And then that comes to the roofclaim.com Boca Raton Bowl.
I heard that Jimmy Kimmel one's funny.
Yeah, it really, really is. So it's some things to ponder here as we head into bowl season. All right, good show. Aaron Beck's going to come on. We're going to talk Great Bend Panther football, also, we have Rubi Spray in studio. It's filling up. We got to get some crackers and stuff for our guests when they come in here.
We need the green room, right?
Exactly,
Yeah.
the green room. All right, Sports Day coming up, more after this.
Hey everyone, this is Cole Ryan, voice of the Barton Cougars. Attending sporting events for Barton Community College is great, but did you know you can support the athletic teams even further by getting involved with the Cougar Booster Club? The Boosters help with fundraising for equipment and facility upgrades to give Barton athletes every opportunity to keep succeeding at the regional and national levels. Join the Cougar Booster Club as an individual or business. Call 620-792-9377. Become a booster today. Go Cougars.
Some of us were born to farm. Some diesels, like Cenex Premium Diesel, were born to fuel. Cenex Rubi Fieldmaster comes with a more complete additive package for a more complete burn to reduce particulate matter and keep filters cleaner for longer. Fuel your equipment like a pro with Cenex Rubi Fieldmaster and leave typical number 2 diesel to the amateurs. Cenex Premium Diesel. Diesel that doesn't mess around.
Contact American Plains Co-op in Great Bend, your certified Cenex distributor today. Venture Corporation is now hiring for a CDL tanker operator driver. We'll operate the same truck all week. New higher wages with flexible hours, no weekends, and time and a half over 40 hours. Blue Cross and Blue Shield health insurance, vision insurance, Section 125 cafeteria plan, 401k retirement plan with match. Venture Corporation is an equal opportunity employer. Women and minorities encouraged. Apply in person at 214 South Highway 281 in Great Bend. Online at venturecorpks.com or call Leslie at Venture Corporation. Homegrown, family owned.
Johnson Electric Motor Winding, the place to be today, and the shopping over the holidays $10,000 shopping spree from Mater Plumbing, Heating, and Air, your Brian dealer. And, of course, our friends at Bauer Computers. Scott Donovan inviting you to stop on by. Enter on the west side, over by Ampride, if you will, at 10th and Morton. Steve Corby, how many years you been doing this now?
16th year now.
Oh, my gosh. Everybody knows you for rewinding motors, but what about new motor sales?
We cover just about 12 different suppliers. Our new motor sales is any size motor up to, we probably have sold 1,000 horsepower here, 500 horsepower.
Tell me how much folks can save when they talk about rewinding an old motor.
On a rewind, you probably could save up to about 40% of new price. So
you got a full staff here working hard all the time, Steve.
We've been averaging about 10 to 12 hours a day here this last couple of years since COVID. But turn time on a lot of things, if they need it really quick, 2 days. If you need something overnight, we'll also do the overnight service as well.
Absolutely unreal. Come on in and find out more. Stop on in here before 5 o'clock today. Use that special QR code and get yourself qualified to win $10,000 on December the 16th. Good luck.
It's time to talk Great Bend High School football with head coach Erin Beck here on Sports Day.
Welcome back. Sports Day here on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. Joining us, Erin Beck, the head coach of the Buffalo Bills. Are you going to play Josh Allen Saturday? Sunday?
I don't know about that one. Who they got? I missed you guys.
The Minnesota Vikings. That elbow, ulnar collateral. I think that's called Tommy John in some circles sometimes. Man,
there's so much football left in front of them that I'd be a little nervous about risking someone like him. And
well, yeah, especially down the road too, because you have to get it hurt, and then you Tommy John, then you miss part of next year. Possibly.
It's amazing how many games those guys can go through.
Can you imagine that preparing and your kids going through a 17-game schedule?
No, I couldn't. I mean, because you see it in high school. I mean, you're limping to the finish line with some of those, and those are professional athletes flying around as fast as they can, trying to,
Yeah,
I don't know. It's tough.
That's 17 game plans, Coach.
Those medical staffs, those strength and conditioning staffs, all those nutrition staffs. It is impressive what they can do for those guys.
Yeah. Okay. When I talked to you earlier this week, setting things up, I said, an unbelievable game on Friday, but I want today's to be kind of a celebration of the season because it was fun. What was this year like for you to coach this group?
Well, it was just such a almost sense of relief once we got that first one, and you just felt so happy for these kids for what they'd all been through, and kind of once you got that first one, you just felt the confidence. You felt everything switch. You felt the way they walked around the halls, the way they carried themselves in the weight room and the locker room and in practice. It felt like it just validated all that hard work that they put in, and then to see it from the community, from the school, from the number of people. You talk to Caden and the number of people that come up to him in the grocery store in the hallways, and just congratulate him and tell him he's doing a great job. Keep it up. You just see that. You hear so many stories from all the different kids within our program, and that's probably the part that I'll remember the most is just to see how happy they all were.
Yeah, and nothing better than a good old successful football season and what it does for communities. You've seen that in other places too.
Yeah, and it just kind of felt like we needed it in this school, in this community. Obviously, the COVID, we're a couple years removed, but, that kind of just put a damper on everything athletically, it felt like. You get a new AD with Matt Westerhouse in here, and he's, bringing a lot of energy and excitement. So it was just a lot of fun to kind of see some things go our way and enjoy it as an entire school and community.
Get an onside kick, and then you score, and it's 33-28. What do you think of that at that point?
Well, once again,
you think it's
here we go. There's always moments within a game that you sit there and go, man, we should have done this. I would have called this. I wish we could have gotten this opportunity capitalized. But for us to score there, execute a perfect onside kick by Galindo, and then Ian Premer gets that thing. I think he wanted to go score, but he didn't realize you can't advance that thing. But then to score a few plays later, it did. It kind of just felt like, here we go again. I mean, what do you expect anything less from this group and from this team? And there was no quitting them, and we just kind of ran out of magic there Friday night.
It's got to be a tough locker room. I mean, there's only one school in 5A or any of the classes that's going to win their last game, unless you don't make the playoffs, in some of these other classes. So it always hurts, but, what's the message to a team in a locker room like that after a season just comes to an end so suddenly?
It's always hard, and I know coaches, we always say you want one more, and that was so true with this group because they were having so much fun, coming in and going to meetings, going to film, going to practice. They loved it, and us coaches all loved it. And so when something that good and that exciting and that gives you that much pride ends, it's just always tough, and that's probably the part that is tough to talk about with seniors, but just making sure they all understand how proud we are of them. And I mean, they did some great things, and I don't know, one of the biggest messages to that senior group and really to the team as a whole is to see the adversity they all went through and to overcome it on the football field. I mean, that's something that they're going to carry with them in life past football, and I know they taught me a ton about coaching, and hopefully they can take something away from football that they take into their life.
It's always strange because the build up and all the excitement you go throughout the year, and the bracket moves on. And, if you're not part of it, it's kind of like, okay, well, the talk goes away. And it just, that's the empty part you probably get, like, the Monday and Tuesday and today, even though it's 4 days later.
Yeah, that's always the hard part as a coach is definitely, on Saturday, Sunday, you don't know what to do with yourself. Yeah. And I'm sure the kids are the same way. You start seeing the bracket, you start seeing the scores, and Great Bend's name isn't up there anymore. And that's a hard thing. And like you said, it marches on, and they go into the sectional round here this weekend, but like you said, let's make sure we celebrate some of the things this group did and this team did throughout the year.
What are some of the things that you're going to remember the most about this season?
Well, like we talked about, that first one was obviously the most exciting you could see from our kids, but the overtime comeback win versus Dodge was kind of that one that you really felt like you needed to go beat a quality program, a quality opponent that has kind of kicked us around the last few years. So that was one. I mean, gosh, we love beating Garden City. There's just something about going down there in that game and winning it the way we did. I mean, there's just so many. I mean, you look at 7 of our wins. I think 4 of them were come from behind, 3 of them within the last drive, the game-winning drive. So so many close games that you just saw our kids play with so much confidence, and that'll be something that I'll always remember about this group.
Yeah, it was fun to watch, and we go back to the community stuff, how it just grew from the ground. I mean, you got that long losing streak, you drop the first 2 games against 2 good opponents, and then all of a sudden you just see everybody's, okay, we're 2-2, 3-0, boy, they beat. You just see it grow into crescendo.
Yeah, and you saw with I just love seeing our students in our student section and all those classmates of these kids just come out and support them and just really love the Friday night atmosphere with them and really felt like they were living it too. And it's kind of why I invited them in to come celebrate after the I games, because it's their team just as much as anybody else's, and that's the same with the community. I mean, there's so many people that, whether they played in this program, whether they taught in a school district, or their kids played for us. I mean, it's just football is a family atmosphere, and that's kind of what it really felt like this year.
Seniors, how many you lose overall?
Oh gosh, there's about 13 of them, and there's some big holes to fill. Now, we did have a few seniors this year that kind of joined us for the first time, and I think they loved the experience. It was pretty fun for them. So, it's always tough to lose guys, especially some of those two-way players that played a lot of snaps for us. But we're really excited about where you go from here. You lose seniors every year, and that's part of high school football. You got to develop your young. You got to continue to try to recruit the halls and get more kids out, because that's got to be something we do. And I think winning helps, and let's start working in the off season, start seeing these kids compete on the basketball court and on the wrestling mat, and into the spring sports, and it'll be here before you know it.
It's always the toughest part, isn't it? You go in and when you take those seniors' names off the depth chart for the next year, start plugging the other guys where you think they might fit for next year.
Well, within our minds, it happens instantaneously on the bus ride home. As coaches are already starting to talk about, who's going where we got to move from, and it happens quick, because that their time goes just as fast, and that's the same as coaches. Our time goes quick, and you got to make sure that you're ready to go for the next year and the next group, and we're excited about the guys we got coming back.
What's next year look like? I mean, you guys coming back, obviously you got a very talented freshman class, but talk about next year a little bit on what you're looking forward to.
Well, if you start up front, lose a couple offensive linemen to graduation, but I felt like we really played almost 6 offensive linemen this last year. So I think we bring back a pretty good core there, and then get a couple freshman kids that are going to be competing next year as sophomores. Skill-wise, obviously losing a kid like Braylon that can take the top off the defense, that's something that's going to be a little tough just with his speed. But if you look at our receiving core, you're bringing back Maddox, you're bringing back Colton, and then you got a couple young freshmen that got a little bit of playing time in Ian and Jacob Hall. So receiving-wise, probably going to be one of the tallest wide receiving core in the state of Kansas. But then the quarterback, that's always the tough one. That's Caden. We've talked about him a lot this year, but a kid that did a complete 180, he'll be tough to replace. But there's a young man that I know really benefited from sitting back and watching him this year. Battled some injuries in Dax Minton, and I think he really learned what it takes, what hard work really looks like, and what it can provide for you on the football field. So I'm excited about getting him healthy, and hopefully got all that out of the way as a freshman, and then bringing back Cody. I mean, Cody Miller, rushed for just a shade under 1,000 yards.
Tough yards.
Yes, tough yards. He's got to hit the weight room. I already talked about him this morning that we need to get that 20 pounds of muscle that Sharman got on him, because he'll need it. Defensively, I think Matthew Johnson, bringing him back, whether it's at linebacker or defensive line, he's going to be a heart and soul of our defense over there. And Trenton Kern, whether he plays offensive or whether he plays D-line or linebacker, I mean, those will be guys. And our outside linebackers, you bring back Colton Brock, you bring back Cooper Lyles. Secondary, you bring back Caden Hoffman, you bring back Ian Premer. I mean, so there are a lot of guys. You get Deion Jones off the IR with his bad arm. I mean, he was a game changer. Through 6 weeks, he was probably one of the top defensive players in the conference. So getting him healthy, getting Brody Schnoblin healthy, so it feels like there's a good core on both sides of the ball that we're bringing back next year.
Your seniors left a legacy, didn't they, Erin?
Oh, they did, and that's something that I told them that no one will ever be able to take away from them. What they did and what they that 7-game heater that they were on, and the excitement that season brought to this community is something that,
and through your entire program,
they'll always remember. Yeah, they kind of righted the ship here.
Here we go again,
And you could feel it, and I can't remember if it was you or someone I heard say, and I loved it, and it was. Everybody kind of always talked about this upcoming maybe freshman class, maybe 8th grade class, and the senior said, "Not so fast."
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's so true, and that is something that I'll always remember them about.
Yeah, and the guys had to listen to it, and they went out there and just, Caden Sharman, He looked like a bodybuilder. That one photo he's got, he's breaking out of the man. Guess if you work hard, that's what those arms look like, right?
Yeah, he put in so much work, not only in the weight room and on the track, but his nutrition. I mean, he took leaps and bounds, and it's wild to even think he took leaps and bounds from week 1 to week 3. He started the game. We ran a little boot play action rollout, and he throws it to the other team to start the year. And quickly over the headset, I just go to the offensive guys. Did he just throw it to the other team? It was kind of one of those, and I think he even felt that way, like, not again. This is not happening again. And to see him right the ship from right there was pretty fun to see. And obviously our team and our offense and our receivers, everybody benefited from it.
Well, it was awesome. You coming in here this year on Sports Day and bringing the kids, that was fantastic. Now, I do have to ask, you come in here with an Ole Miss, that's pretty sweet. Okay, what's the connection there? I mean,
yeah, well, I have an older brother. He's 2 years older than me, and he's kind of bounced around the country. He was at Duke as an intern, and then he went to Ole Miss as an assistant AD, then Georgia, and right now he's down at Auburn. So,
okay,
I've kind of been around some of the different places, and when he goes to somewhere else, he throws me a pullover.
Oh, that's sweet. Okay,
yeah,
I thought maybe you're riding the Crimson Tide. They got 2 losses. Saturday.
It's pretty fun to watch them play. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
But hey, I can't say thank you enough to you guys and what you did for us and for these kids. I mean, I got a lot of different comments about the kids coming on here and how great they did and how much they love seeing them, and I'm sure their parents. I got a lot of emails from parents about thanks for having them on, and we enjoyed listening to them.
Fun.
So such a great community buy-in to you guys and to what you're promoting. And I mean, these high school kids, I always like hearing that. These kids become valuable members of the community, and you want to keep them around. You want to talk about them when they're young. You want to, they go off to college. Hopefully, we can bring them back. And so, hats off to you guys. You guys do a great job.
I appreciate it. Mike Horson's out there on the prowl again right now, so we're looking forward to getting into the winter season and spring sports as well. Erin, thanks a lot.
Yeah,
Talk to you soon.
I got a gift coming for you guys here later, so I'll have to bring it in sometime when you're talking some Lady Panther basketball or something.
That'll be good. All right. Hey, thanks a lot. You want my old maroon Hayes High polo to put in the
I think we need to frame it and maybe have all the kids that were on air sign it. We'll hang it on the wall. That'd be pretty good.
I think you got an idea right there. Okay, we are going to take a break here on Sports Day. Mike Horson's going to take over the chair here. I'll be talking with Ruby Spray. Cool story about a Hall of Famer, Newman University, and a former Great Bend Lady Panther. All on Sports Day.
There is a tremendous demand for plumbers, and Barton Community College just made it faster and simpler to break into this high-wage career. In only 1 semester, master the skills needed to get started. Classes are held from 8 a.m. through noon, Monday through Friday, leaving afternoons open for a part-time job or apprenticeship. Sign up today and start your new career after just 1 semester of coursework. Visit GoBarton.com to get started.
If you need physical therapy, consider Advanced Therapy in Great Bend and Progressive Therapy in Larned and Hayes.
There's nothing like A-STEM therapy. This is Tim Marcus from Progressive Physical Therapy in Hayes. Research shows A-STEM therapy improves muscle performance and neural functioning. It's highly effective for those dealing with tennis elbow, carpal tunnel, sports injuries, and general aches and pains.
You don't need to hurt. Physical therapy can help. Call Advanced or Progressive Therapy and Sports Medicine to explore your treatment options and get your life back.
Get the latest 5G devices at Next Tech Wireless. Now you can get the iPhone 14 Pro and the Samsung Galaxy S22 Plus on us, or up to $999 off any other device. And that's not all. You can also get half off a new Apple Watch when you bring your number to us. Next Tech Wireless. We are Kansas.
This Veterans Day, we stand up and respect the men and women who've served honorably this United States of America and brought us where we are today through courage and sacrifice. A grateful nation holds you in its heart. Thank you from Venture Corporation, Johnson Electric Motor Winding, Heavy Duty Diesel and Auto, Bugelsdyke Chiropractic, and Clara Barton Medical Center.
Tim, what are you doing?
Just a little simple at-home welding, baby.
Do you have any idea how to use that thing?
Saw a guy use it on TV for 15 minutes. I'm good to go.
I'm going to call the fire department.
Oh, Tim.
Hey, Wilson.
You know neighbor Erin's Repair, and Great Bend does just that sort of thing. You get to relax. I get to keep my fence from getting torched. Everyone's a winner.
Erin's Repair in Great Bend. Over 40 years of getting things done right. To see everything they do, like them on Facebook.
Welcome back to Sports Day, 1590 KVGB, 95.5 FM. Mike Corson. Special guest today is Rubi Torres, the future Hall of Famer at Newman University. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm good. Feeling good.
And so I was asking you out in the hallway, why did you get into the Hall of Fame? Is it so they can save money on a bronze statue? Do you get a... NFLers, those guys get jackets and stuff?
I wish we got like a ring or something. I think I need to bring it up to them. Maybe get a big ring.
And so I'll bring this up too. We did the feature last week. You can still find it on greatbendpost.com. Did not know Chelsea Mitchell Morris took your photo. So when I look back at the teams I've coached, there's Rubi Torres, there's Chelsea Mitchell. We just need Tori Arnberger Blue to make a state proclamation, and then the cycle's complete.
I know you brought in the picture from the archives.
2004 it was.
2004, I know. I don't even remember that until you brought the picture. Then I'm like, oh, okay, yep.
I think you guys were my first undefeated team.
Not surprising.
All right, so you're here because you are going into the Newman Sports Hall of Fame for cross country. So like we talked about in the feature, you grew up running. You thought you were going to be a track and field kid. And then a math teacher in middle school kind of changed your life.
Yeah. So honestly, I really wanted to be good at like basketball, volleyball, like all these other sports that I tried playing in rec. But I always was just really good at running. And so I still continue to play other sports. But yeah, Great Bend, Golden Belt track. That's kind of like the big thing that I remember doing and traveling. And always had a lot of good success with that. And then that continued on into middle school. At the time, it was still just like fun, you know, didn't really think it was going to evolve into what it did into high school. And then, you know, found cross country through my coach and math teacher. I had him for 3 years as a math teacher. And then my last year, I was his student aide. So like graded papers and stuff like that for him. But yeah.
And you were a distance kid even before cross country, but especially in cross country where you're going to run the 2 or 3 miles at a time. Obviously you don't just show up and run a race. That's a lot of preparation. What makes a good cross country kid?
You know, I think there's a lot of summer training that goes into it because cross country is a fall sport. And so if you go your whole summer without doing anything, that's going to be really hard to come into. So I always try to stay active in running over the summer. I think there's a lot more emphasis on like conditioning with like weight training. I've seen a lot of the high schoolers, Addie Nicholson. I've known her and she's told me some of the training that they do now. And I think there's been a lot of more emphasis on that conditioning with the weights.
And then you talked about in the race, like you said the mile, kind of when you start your race and then it's a head game, it's a heart game. Talk about that stuff of what gets you through a race.
Yeah, totally. I personally always thought that the race started at that mile. That first mile is all about like pacing, strategy. That's what worked for me. What girls am I looking for? Where are my teammates? Where are we standing? That's kind of like the first mile for me. You're still trying to find your pace in that pack. You're also trying to separate yourself from that big group of girls that are right there. I mean, you're side to side with each other. But once that first mile hits, it always felt like the race really started. Like, okay, I'm here. I can start thinking a little bit more about, where I want to go from here. So
we're talking to Rubi Torres Spray, 2011 graduate of Great Bend High School, going into the Newman Hall of Fame. So you had several state track medals, several cross country medals. So now you're going to go to college, but you want to be a nurse. How did that complicate things?
You know, it was something that I never really gave much thought as to how that would be a conflict with scheduling. And so I found out that if I did want to run track, it would be indoor track it would be outdoor track, and I would be running cross country, all long distances. If you're a long distance runner, you know that you're putting 50 plus mile weeks during an off season, and that could be much higher during your peak training. And when I thought about that, I'm like, that is a lot of mileage to put in and try to study. So when you're a nursing major, you of course have class, and then you also have clinical days where you're spending time in the hospital. And so right up front, I knew that that was going to be conflicting, especially with the traveling too. I treated it as a job. I was putting in a lot of hours. It felt like a full-time job to me with cross country. So, you know, I knew that I always wanted to be a nurse ever since I was a little girl. I liked taking care of others, my brothers and just other people. My brother was hit by a car when I was in high school, and that's kind of what ignited that. Okay, yeah, I definitely want to take care of others. And then Newman has a great nursing program. I mean, it's an incredible program. And so that kind of just tied it all together for me. It was sad, you know, giving up track, but I got to run cross country. I got to study. I got to have success in both of those things. So that's something that I'm really proud of, definitely.
And then you ran for Coach Josh Shepis at Newman. A lot of kids will develop good relationships with their coaches, but he ends up doing the father-daughter dance at your wedding and becomes a really big part of your life.
Yeah. You know, that's something that was something that was hard, like realizing when it comes to like father figures in your life. But I would say he was the main and first father figure in my life. And so he started as a coach, but he definitely became more as a dad to me, and he still is that way. But he's that way with everybody. I mean, we developed a really good relationship, but that's just Coach Shepis. If you know him, you just know he's a great guy, and he has a lot of close relationships with other people. And he definitely stepped up in a really big way. He and his wife, Sandra, took me in, and I even babysat for them. And so, yeah, it's just been really great having that relationship with him. And like you said, he stepped in as in the father-daughter dance, and he even delivered a speech at my wedding. So that was really cool.
Once again, Ruby Spray for Great Bend High School graduate and going into the Newman Hall of Fame. So part of the reason, individually, you still hold the top 3 5K times at Newman, and you were the first woman to break 18 minutes. Is it crazy that those things still stand almost a decade later?
Yeah, definitely. And humble brag, I still have the 6K record too. So, no, yeah, it's definitely crazy. I have ran with a lot of really good girls, and girls that, you know, when I was a senior were coming in as freshmen, and I'm like, you're going to do it. I know you're going to be the one that's going to break my record. And, you know, records are meant to be broken. I think, especially like just as a woman and as a female athlete, like you just want to support other women in your sport and hope that someone can work just as hard as you, because you know the hard work that goes into it, and hope that they have success as well.
Speaking kind of on those terms, I covered Sterling. So Renee Wilson used to be Renee Zimmerman. She's all over the state track program. Her records still stand from the early 90s. Her son Tyus is jumping at the University of Nebraska. You've chosen to go into the Hall of Fame as Ruby Torres instead of Ruby Spray. How about that decision?
You know, we kind of talked about this earlier, but it was never really even like a debate to me. It was always like, yeah, I'm being inducted in as Ruby Torres. I let them know that that's how I wanted to be inducted in. I hope that when people see my name, that they are like, yeah, I want to be like her. I remember other names from high school. Chelsea Clanton was one of them. Growing up, that's who I wanted to be like. Like, yeah, I want to be like her, and I hope I get to break her records. And when I was at Newman, that was Melissa Ortiz. That was the name that I was chasing after. So I hope that when people see Ruby Torres, I hope that inspires other women. I hope when they see Ruby Torres, they people with similar backgrounds as me will inspire them. Like, hey, she was able to do that. I can too.
And last one here, you grew up here, but you go to school in Wichita. Sometimes it's easy to stay in those big towns, but you wanted to move back and you're happy to be here.
Yeah, I always knew I wanted to raise my kids. I always had dreams of being a mother, and I'm so glad that I am one now. And I knew that I wanted to raise my kids in a smaller community. And so I'm thankful that I'm, like I've mentioned before, back in the community that I feel like raised me. And I just like the close-knit community. That's what also drew me into Newman. It's small. You're in a big city, but you're in a small university. And I work in a small rural hospital, and I do a little bit of everything from emergency trauma, delivering babies, med surge, swing bed, hospice. We do it all.
All right, Rubi will be inducted into the Newman Sports Hall of Fame on February 4th of 2023. Congratulations. Cool to have you on, and glad you're doing those things.
Thank you so much for having me. This is fun.
All right, Rubi Torres Spray, more Sports Day after this.
From the Mayo Money Management Studios, 1590 KVGB Great Bend and 95.5 FM K238CK Hoisington.
Is Barton County's only board-certified clinical specialist in orthopedic physical therapy. No matter your age, when it hurts, he will help. Call Dan at 620-282-4825. That's 282-4825. Excellence-driven, unrivaled results. Catalyst therapy and sports rehab. Inside the Fieldhouse at 9th and Madison in Great Bend.
To be the king of the road, you have to fill with the king of diesels. We're talking about Cenex Premium Diesel. It comes with a more complete additive package for a more complete burn. Cenex Roadmaster XL even cleans up and prevents injector fouling to keep your trucks out of the shop and on the road. And typical number 2 diesel? That's always an option. The wrong option. Cenex Premium Diesel. Diesel that doesn't mess around.
Contact American Plains Co-op in Great Bend, your certified Cenex distributor today.
This is Barton Community College Athletic Director Trevor Rolfs. The Barton Athletic Department is proud to sponsor Sports Day on KVGB, a show that showcases all of our high school student athletes in central Kansas, some whom will continue their educational and athletic future with us here at Barton. We're excited about the fall sports season that is now underway and invite you to attend a game or a match and experience the rich tradition of Cougar athletics. For complete schedules and results, visit bartonsports.com.
Prescription products require an online consultation. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information.
Think you might have ED? Not sure? Well, we'd like to let you in on a little secret. ED is common. About 40% of men experience ED by age 40, but the solution is simple. Find it at 4hims.com.
I didn't have to talk to a doctor in person. There was no copay, and the medication was shipped right to my door in discreet packaging.
Hims took care of it, fast and easy. Now our love life is better than ever.
Get access to doctors online who can prescribe you FDA-approved ED medication if appropriate. The same active ingredient as name brands, but 90% cheaper. Skip the waiting rooms and pharmacy lines. Get a free medical consultation and rise to the occasion or your money back. Go to 4hims.com/joy to get your first visit free. No copay required. The only way to get this special offer is to go to 4hims.com/joy. FORHIMS.com/JOY.
It's time to head to Tiger Town to talk Fort Hays State Tiger sports with the voice of the Tigers, Gerard Wellbrock, on Sports Day.
Indeed it is. Gerard Wellbrock, voice of the Fort Hays State Tigers, joining us from the... So you said the wind's blowing up there. It's calm and 70 down here. What's the deal with that?
You're lucky then. It's warm, but it's a bit breezy.
Indeed.
But I'm not outside much today.
Okay, Tiger football season wraps up this Saturday after coming off a win against the, the River Hawks? Is that what they are?
River Hawks.
Okay.
Yeah, they actually have a pretty cool logo. I mean, that's a good fitting mascot because there's a lot of hawks there by the river. But yeah, Northeastern State River Hawks.
Yeah, right down along the Illinois River. Okay. You've been there many times. Got the win, so now you close it out against Pittsburgh State. I'm sure the Gorillas don't want to exact any revenge on the Tigers, do they?
Oh, I'm sure not. Yeah, Fort Hays hasn't lost in Pittsburgh sinth 2009.
That's incredible.
That today was a surprise. And the schedule's gone, and the COVID didn't play there that year. But they've won 3 in a row in Pittsburgh, and we'll see. It's going to be tough. They're really good. They're top 5 in the country. They dropped to 3 in the region despite getting a road win last week. So they're probably a little bit angry of that and feel they should be better. So I don't think the Gorillas are going to look past Fort Hays State. This will be a challenge, needless to say, but hopefully the Tigers can at least put up a fight, play well, and then start focusing on the offseason.
Gerard, I thought I'd just real quick here, just talk about some of our area kids that have had good seasons. And, of course, one that probably stands out a little bit more than anybody else would be Mason Perez.
He really has played well. And I think we've talked about him before, probably played more last year than he should have. That sounds wrong, but I think physically he wasn't quite there. You could see in camp. I mean, he was stronger, he was faster, and if it wasn't for a concussion on a hit that he obliterated a dude, and unfortunately he got the brunt of it and missed a couple of games for the protocol. He's really been good, and I'm excited for what he's going to be in his final 2 years. He's one of those players Chris Brown's building his team around. I mean, they're going about it the right way. He's hungry. He wants to do well. He does the right things during the week, and you can tell he did the right things in the off season and is rewarded. I don't think Fort Hays is going to get a lot of all-conference recognition when that comes out next week because of their season, but he's one. He should at least get honorable mention. I mean, with a young defense, he's been one of the leaders, and if he didn't have that concussion, he missed a couple of games mid-season, I think he would have been even a better year. But, yeah, excited about him. He's had a great season, and he's going to be one of the anchors on that defense for years to come.
And the other guy is my favorite because, of course, everyone knows that, I started off as a quarterback and ended up as a defensive end, right? Miles Mingus, man. Yeah, how about that?
Yeah, and he had to learn a new position coming from linebacker. And he's been able to play a little bit of linebacker just when they go to that 3-3 look. But you could tell as the season has come along, he's gotten more comfortable. He even told us earlier this year, it's different, and it's taken a while to learn how to shed blocks and all those things. When you're a linebacker, you don't worry about because you're roaming sideline to sideline, and you can see just his progression and how he's played. He's been dinged up he had a concussion as well and missed a game. But, another guy is going to be the anchor. I think the defensive line's got a chance to be pretty good. And you take Gavin Hazelhorst, the Hayes High product who redshirted at K-State. He's back, is there. He's playing defensive end. He's had a shoulder injury that's kept him out of the lineup a little bit this year. He had a really good game Saturday. Those two, I think, have a chance to be really good, and I think that defensive line's going to be solid as they move forward. Everybody's back. It was a young defense to start the year, and, Miles is going to be one of the guys on there, one of the leaders on that defense. So there's a lot of reasons to be excited, and Perez and Mingus are one of the two main reasons why on defense.
How about Alex Schramer? Saw some action on special teams. He had a punt return earlier this year of 55 yards. Talk about his development.
Unfortunately, add it to the list. I mean, players have been hurt. He was doing returns, trying to work his way. And I think he's going to get in the rotation at wide receiver. It's just taking a little bit of a while, but he was a return guy. He had a few troubles with some muff punts, but I think worked through those, and then he gets hurt in practice. And he hasn't played for 2 weeks because of that. So, unfortunately, add him to the list. I mean, that list is single-spaced, 2-3 pages long of guys who've been hurt, missed time, and missed multiple games. And unfortunately, feel he's making progress, and then that happens. So, I mean, hopefully he gets over the injury, can get back this off season, get working, because I think his brighter days are still ahead of him. It's just, picking it all up, and everybody it clicks at different times for everybody, and I think he's got a chance to get in that rotation at receiver next season as soon as he can get off that injury and get back and going.
Okay, let me move this question up. Usually you get this first part of June. I'll just ask it now. How are the Tigers going to be next year?
Are we talking basketball or football?
Oh, we're talking football.
We're talking football. Well, they're going to be young next year. They're going to be younger than they were this year. But I do think they honored 16 seniors last week. Some of them are juniors who have graduated. And I think it's mutual. I think they're ready to move on. I think coach is ready for them to move on with life. And it's nothing bad. They don't, nothing. There's no animosity there. But they all have graduated. They may have jobs lined up. The dynamic has changed. And I think he's excited for the young core. And the vast majority of numbers on the roster are sophomores, redshirt freshmen, and true freshmen. and they're going to go out and get a few. I mean, I think you're going to look. I'm sure they're going to bring in some receivers. They have to, probably on the back end, some safeties, a corner, probably offensive line wise, some tackles. I think they're pretty good on the interior, but they need a few bigger guys for right and left tackle. I think they'll try to do that through the junior college. I don't think they want to go too far and too many, but they're going to have to get some immediate help. I don't know how many wins they're going to get. Obviously, there's a lot of factors, and you're going to have a new quarterback. I mean, you lose your all-conference starting quarterback who hardly played. You're going to have a young quarterback. They've got a true freshman they're really excited about. You have the two redshirt freshmen who played most of the way this year. I think it'll be an intriguing battle to see who emerges and wins that. I think you're going to see good effort. I really believe there's a core of players who want to turn this thing around and get it back to where it is. I almost liken it to just, in a way, being a first-year head coach, and you're playing a lot of young kids who probably aren't ready or still figuring it out and are getting a good baptism by fire what it takes to win in this league, and hopefully they do the right things, and I think you're going to see a turnaround. I think it can be quicker than it was the first time, but I know, in fact, we asked Coach about that at his press conference yesterday, and he's like, we're not going to win a conference championship next year. I think we can be a lot better, but I think right after that, we're going to be right there knocking on the door again if everybody does the things away from the field and in the off season that they need to do. And if they do that, I think we got a chance to be pretty good again pretty quick.
All right, Gerard, have you back next week. We'll talk about the football wrap-up with Pitt State and talk a little round ball next week. Appreciate you.
Sounds good. See you, Steve.
Okay, Gerard Wellbrock, voice of the Fort Hays State Tigers, with us on Sports Day.
If you need physical therapy, consider Advanced Therapy in Great Bend and Progressive Therapy in Larned and Hayes.
Hello, this is Austin Alford. I'd like to introduce to you today one of the most popular pieces of equipment we have to train core strength, shoulder stability, core stability, and even to improve balance. Come check out the core sticks for yourself at Progressive Physical Therapy Center in Hayes.
You don't need to hurt. Physical therapy can help. Call Advanced or Progressive Therapy in Sports Medicine to explore your treatment options and get your life back.
Carpentry is a rewarding career for people who like working with their hands and find gratification in making things. Barton Community College makes it faster to break into this high-demand career with great earning potential. Learn the skills you need to get started in a new carpentry career in just one semester. Classes are held from 8 a.m. through noon, Monday through Friday, leaving afternoons open for a part-time job or apprenticeship. Visit GoBarton.com to get started.
Venture Corporation is now hiring for a CDL tanker operator driver. We'll operate the same truck all week. New higher wages with flexible hours, no weekends, and time and a half over 40 hours. Blue Cross and Blue Shield health insurance, vision insurance, Section 125 cafeteria plan, 401k retirement plan with match. Venture Corporation is an equal opportunity employer. Women and minorities encouraged. Apply in person at 214 South Highway 281 in Great Bend. Online at VentureCorpKS.com or call Leslie at Venture Corporation. Homegrown, family owned.
Well, another successful journey here on a Wednesday. Great show. Appreciate Aaron Beck coming in and sharing his players with us this season. Also like to, all the volleyball kids, cross-country kids, soccer kids, golf, tennis. Yeah, Mike Corson on the prowl. We'll continue that as we get into the winter sports. Also, Rubi Torres spray. On the show, and the voice of the Tigers, Gerard Wellbrock. No show tomorrow, Friday. It's Hesh. It's Mike. Talk to you next week on Sports.